So let's turn back in the study guide and take a look on page 7. So first of all, what starts the street fight? The street fight begins when Samson bites his thumb at Abram. And biting your thumb is like flipping someone off. So that is the insult that started the fight. So let's take a look. The prince comes in at the end of the fight and he tells people, you need to stop fighting. And we can break this up into 3 main chunks. So this first part right here, and you'll want to make these notes over here to the side. The first part says you need to throw your weapons down and stop fighting, is what it's saying. Throw your weapons down and stop fighting. Then the middle part goes from right here, is saying that you have already fought 3 times and you have involved the people of Verona in this fight. And we are tired of it. Then the last part is right here, and the prince says, you all need to go away. Capulets, you're going to come with me. Montagues, you're going to come to my palace later in the afternoon. And then he says, if you fight again, you will die. Okay, then come down to the questions right here. What does the prince say will happen if they fight again? And he says that they will die if they fight again. And when does he want to see the Montagues and the Capulets? So we just talked about that one. He says he wants to see the Montagues in the afternoon, and he wants to see the Capulets right now. Okay, and let's move down. All right. So now let's talk a little bit about what the definition of a tragedy is. And I'm going to go back over to our slide here to see that. Oh, here we go. Tragedy. Tragedy is typically found in a dramatic work. It is the downfall of the main character, and the plot moves forward because of a bad decision by that main character, and all of the main characters die. So Romeo and Juliet is an example of a tragedy, and so we know Romeo and Juliet are going to die. But the reason why people keep watching and reading is to figure out how that death comes to be. Okay, so make sure you've written those notes down in your study guide right here. So in that street fight that we just saw, we did not see Romeo. He was not involved there. And so that is the next part of Act 1, Scene 1. And that part actually is not in the movie. So we are going to go to the textbook to take a look at that. So you'll need to open up your textbook. I'm not sure if I have mine here. Oh, here it is. Open up your textbook. And you'll want to go to Act 1, Scene 1, towards the end here. And this is on right here, page 155. Is that what that says? Page 185. Okay, so this part is not in the movie. All right, so we have to turn the page 1. So now we're at 186. This is the prince's speech and Lady Montague right here. So Lady Montague says, "Oh, where is Romeo? Saw you him today? Glad right I am that he was not at this fray. Then we have Benvolio. Madam, an hour before the worshipped sun peered forth the golden window of the east, a troubled mind drave me walk abroad. where, underneath the grove of sycamore that westward rooteth from the city side, so early walking did I see your son. Towards him I made, but he was ware of me, and stole into the covert of the wood, I measuring his affections by my own, which then most sought where most might not found. Being one too many of my weary self, pursued my humor, not pursuing his, and gladly shunned who gladly fled from me. Now you can see over here at the side, it gives you a translation about what Benvolio is saying there. So if we go back down here to the bottom, Lady Montague is saying, have you seen Romeo? And Benvolio says, I got up really early in the morning and I was out walking in the woods and I did see your son. But when I got there, he was walking by himself and I thought he saw me, but he didn't respond. He just kept walking. So Lord Montague says, many a morning hath he been seen, with tears augmenting the fresh morning's dew, adding to clouds more clouds with deep sighs, but all too so soon as the all-cheering sun should in the farthest east begin to draw the shady curtains from Aurora's bed, away from light steals home my heavy son, and private chambers pens himself, shuts up his windows, locks fair daylight out, and makes himself an artificial night. Black and portentous must his humor prove, unless good counsel may cause to remove. So Lord Montague is saying, I don't really know what his deal is because he has been acting this way. He shuts himself in his room. He doesn't really talk to us, and he's been crying a lot. Benvolio says, do you know why? And Lord Montague says, no. And Benvolio says, well, did you ask him? And Lord Montague says, yeah, I did ask him, and I asked some friends also, but nobody can seem to figure out what is wrong with him. So then Benvolio says, you know what, I am going to go and I'm going to figure out what is wrong with Romeo. And Lord Montague says, that's great. Okay, so then Benvolio goes over to Romeo and is like, good morrow, cousin. Romeo, is the day so young? But new struck 9. So Benvolio's like, good morning. And Romeo's like, well, I don't really know what time it is. Is it still morning? And then Romeo is saying, well, I didn't realize that's what the time was. Benvolio says, what sadness lengthens Romeo's hours? Romeo, not having that which makes them short. In love, out of love, out of her favor, where I am in love. Alas, that love so gentle in his view should be so tyrannous and rough in proof. Alas, love whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will. Where shall we dine? Oh me, what fray was here? Yet tell me not, for I have heard it all. So Benvolio's like, what is it that makes you sad? And Romeo says, what is the thing that I need makes my days short and I don't have that. And so Romeo says, I'm out of love. I'm not in love anymore. So then Romeo is like, what happened here? And then he's like, never mind. I don't really want to know what happened. Okay, so let's go back to the study guide and answer some questions there. All right, so where is Romeo during the street fight? He is walking in the woods. So what is making Romeo so sad, and who finds out this information? Well, we know a little bit of it right now. We know that Benvolio found out that Romeo is not in love, but we're going to find out some more. All right, so let's return to the textbook. So Romeo is saying, here's much to do with hate, but more with love. Then, why then, O brawling love, loving hate, O anything of nothing first create, O heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos, and well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep, that is not what it is. This love feel I, that feel no love in this. Dost thou not laugh? So Romeo is explaining right here how he feels, and he is using an oxymoron to do that. So let's go back to the study guide, and there are some oxymorons to look at there. So we're coming down on page 9. So let's take a look at the definition of an oxymoron is a contradiction. So a contradiction of elements. So walking and sleep, those two things don't go together. And so Romeo is using these contradictory elements like brawling love, loving hate, heavy lightness, serious vanity, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. He's using these to show his emotions, sort of like over exaggerating, but to show the deep contrast between the two. So right here, that's where you would write your definition, that it is an extreme contrast. And then examples from Romeo and Juliet, we can see them right here. So go ahead and underline those. Brawling love, loving hate, I just went over those. And then some examples from society, some that you may have heard, things like jumbo shrimp or pretty ugly. You know, those are examples of oxymorons. Okay, let's continue then in the book. Okay, Benvolio says, no, I'm not laughing at you. I'm crying with you. And Romeo's like, really, why? And Benvolio's like, because your heart is hurt. And then Romeo says here, yes, my heart is broken. And he's saying that it's all because of love. I thought love was supposed to make me feel happy, but here it is not. So Benvolio says, like, wait a minute. And Romeo's like, it's not really me. I'm somewhere else. What you're seeing right here is just like a shell of me. Benvolio then asks, well, what is it? Who do you love? And then Romeo's like, I don't really want to tell you. And then finally down here he says, I do love a woman. And Benvolio's like, well, duh. I pretty much figured that you loved a woman. And then Romeo says, well, she doesn't love me anymore because she has decided to remain chaste. So she has decided to remain a virgin. And so that is what broke their relationship up, because she has decided that she won't sleep with Romeo. And then Benvolio's like, forever? And Romeo's like, yes, this is a huge waste. She is cutting off her beauty from the whole world. So Benvolio's advice here is, you should just go right here. You should just forget about her and you should go and see other women. And Romeo's like, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. So Romeo says, you don't understand. Once I have seen the beauty of Rosalind, there's no going back. And Benvolio says, well, I'm pretty sure that I can help you do that. So back to the study guide. Let's go back up here on page 8. So what is making Romeo sad? He had a girl. The girl does not love Romeo back. Okay? All right, now take a few moments here and write this journal. Love is an experience filled with sights, sighs, smiles, anger, regret, hope, passion, and fun. What are your thoughts and feelings about love in marriage? So you can go ahead and pause the video and write a paragraph here.